Hi everyone, Jamie here with Sweet Pickins. Welcome to our home. I am so glad you're here. All right, well, I'm in the standard uniform. When I'm home, I'm usually wearing a black tank top. I think I own probably 15 of the same tank top. I am going to work on some furniture for the farm stand. So if you haven't watched those videos, definitely watch it. Start with part 1 and then watch part 2. So as soon as I get done with this DIY, I'm gonna head outside and I'm gonna start sanding and working and making and painting and all the things. So I am ready to go for that, but I did not want to miss out on making this really fun, easy flag with you guys. It is so cute. You could use it as decor, give it out as gifts, make a whole bunch and pass them out on 4th of July. They are so cute. So the puppy dogs are running around, the little weenie dogs, and apparently they found a squeaky toy. Georgie. That would be George. George and Hazel are the worst squeakers, but George by far is crazy. Anyway, but gosh, do we just love them. So we're gonna make a really fun DIY today. It's not gonna take much. It doesn't cost very much. There's just several steps, but they're easy steps. So I've got my big glass. I had to have some juice. I want some juice today, and my really fun cup. These are on the website. They are mason jars that have flour textured all over them. They come with a wood lid and a glass shaped straw. It's kind of bent looking. Love that. I have been using the heck out of this glass. So those are on the website if you want to check those out. But it is over 90 here today, and it is just so beautiful, so nice. And man, is it warm. So I had to come in, get something refreshing, and start this DIY with you guys. So let's get started on this super fun, simple, cute DIY. So I have one here to show you. So this is what it's gonna look like, and they're all gonna be different. So I happen to put these colors on here, but we're gonna kind of mix it up. I'm gonna show you the fabrics that I have. And then I just went out to the yard and just cut a ton of sticks. This one's kind of curved, so you can see it's not perfect, but it's okay. I want imperfect. So I'm gonna give you guys some options for the stars. In this case, I use little flower buttons, but I've got star buttons. And I am waiting on some little wood star pieces, but they have not arrived yet. So I'm still waiting on those. So it's not a problem. I'll throw buttons on the ones I have, and then the little wood stars, when they get here, we'll put those on too on some of them, and they will look super cute. So I'm gonna make one of these with you guys just to show you how simple, how easy, and you can see they have some structures. They're not floppy, but how cute are these gonna be in your decor, inside, outside? They're gonna work everywhere. So let's get started. I'm gonna show you what I use to make it to where it has structure. Like, see, it's sticking up, but I don't have on here, I don't have any cardboard or anything. The trick to getting it to do that is actually Warm and Natural. So if you've never worked with Warm and Natural, it's just a thicker cotton. It's wrapped up like this always. And you know what it's used for? Typically, a lot of people will use this in the middle of their quilts. When they're making quilts, just absolutely love the color, the texture, everything. It's got some stiffness to it. Not super expensive. I think this roll was like $10. So I have pre-cut out a few pieces. So you can see they almost feel like a felt, if you would. So that, you know, you'll get some structure. Plus, once you add some glue and you add some layers on it, you're gonna get even more structure. So this does move. But in this case, it still moves, but it doesn't move as much. And that's because we have added elements to the Warm and Natural. So like I said, I just already cut these out. There's no right, there's no wrong. I did not actually measure anything. I just eyeballed it and started cutting. So you make your flags as big or as little as you want. I would say this is probably about, actually, you know what? I have a ruler right here. Okay, I was gonna say 5 inches. It's 5.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So again, I just eyeballed it. There's no right, no wrong. So that's what I did here. You don't have to use Warm and Natural. You could use felt, or you can just use fabric, or you can actually use cardboard and cover the cardboard. It's totally up to you. So here are some remnants that I have. So this honestly right here is what I used here. But you don't have to use this. This is a fabric with stars on it. You don't have to use that. What you're gonna want is you're gonna want some blue fabric. So let me show you. We're just working so outside the box, different colors, but I did a lighter paisley blue, which is like a baby blue. And here's a check navy blue. And here's a dusty 80s goose blue is what I call it, with polka dots. So you can see it's all different rainbows. This one may not work as good, but you know what? I still thought it's very unique. Why not do it? So that's what I grabbed for those. Then you're gonna want to grab some red fabric. Now I have this roll of red fabric, but I also have some cut right here. These are the same ones. So I have a stripe, and this is a true red, bright red, so patriotic. Very red. It screams patriotic. Then you've got your, your gingham fabric here. It's a little bit softer of a red. It's more of a blue red, little softer, little deeper. It's not as bright. And then we have our bright mini polka dot. So you're just gonna want a variety. So these are what I had. This is what we're gonna use. I grabbed some just plain linen kind of fabric. I also had this fabric with some stripes that's got the creams, the tans, the taupes, and the navy blue in it. And then I also have a white. Now I was gonna tea dye this white, but I never got around to it. So we're gonna just whatever that. But if you do get white, this is true white. It is white. It may not be coming off white, but you can use all white, but you don't want to throw off the color too much and make it, if you're looking for a really primitive vintage feel look, you're going to really want to make sure that your colors are a little more muted, kind of like mine are. I even thought my white stars were too white, but I left them and I'm like, whatever. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of wing it. We're just going to wing it. We're going to put them together. So let's start doing that. So as far as the warm and natural goes, we don't need that because I have some pieces already cut out. So I know this is a light color, but I still suggest you use some kind of white cream, something really neutral just to layer that fabric. First of all, it's going to add dimension, texture. It's going to flow better. Now, if you were to just do a red piece here on here and then leave the next part plain and then a red piece, it's going to go high and low and high and low, and I don't think it's going to be high and low in a good way. So I still am going to be using a light color to represent the white, whether that be the white, whether that be this cream taupe tan navy blue stripe, or if it's actually, this is an old rag that is just kind of stained and tattered and it's been washed many times. So when that happens, I actually use them for projects. So it just depends. So make sure that you are definitely using something like that. So why don't we already used this fabric. So why don't we use the small polka dot fabric here? Now, what I like to do, because we're going for a primitive, vintage, colonial look. Guys, that look is coming back like crazy right now. So, and if you have that kind of home, absolutely bring that in. All right, so what I like to do, you're gonna get a really good, raw, authentic look. I like to cut a little bit of this, and then I like to rip it. Some fabrics don't rip as good because they're really high quality. So I'm just gonna rip it. There's no measuring, there's no nothing, it's winging it. So this is 3/4, and as far as length, it does not matter what your length is. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut a couple of these out. Again, winging it. The more you wing it, the more authentic it's going to look. Okay, so let's use that. And then let me see, I'm trying to see what color will look the best with this. All right, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and do this one with this is a dusty blue, and I just called it goose blue because when I was growing up, this was the color with mauve. That was the color of everything. All the decor, the kitchens, yada, yada, yada. Just like people that were, you know, born in the 70s or raised in the 70s, it was, you know, that green shag carpet and mustard color with mushrooms. Oh boy. So this is what I think of when I see this color. I think of my mom and my grandma's house that was full of geese, you know, the ducks and the geese, and just really cottage style, which I'm telling y'all has made the craziest comeback. I cannot get on board. I just cannot get on board. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're just going to cut a piece of this out. I'm not saying this is going to be the right size. We're just going to cut a piece out, what we think, and that's how we're going to do it. That way we could get all these remnants, you know, kind of off to the side, not worry about it. All right, so the last thing that we're going to do is we are going to use some of this fabric. Now this, because it's a very textured shop cloth, honestly, is what this is. We have to cut it. It really does not rip. Again, you can see. Now, if you're not comfortable with just eyeballing it, then absolutely measure. I would rather not measure. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a piece of this Warm and Natural. Now, I have my glue gun plugged in. So we're gonna use the glue gun. I will say the glue gun does add kind of, sometimes distorts and changes and gives lines where you can see the glue. I don't always love that. So I do have my Aleene's glue. So if you don't want to use a glue gun and you don't like that look, because hopefully it won't happen because I'm gonna use very, very little. But a lot of times through fabric, you can see where you put the line of glue. Honestly, good old-fashioned school glue when you were a kid works excellent. I just buy the Elmer's. I find the Elmer's works good, but Aleene's tacky glue is a go-to for so many things. So we do have this too. I'm going to show you guys the glue gun because most likely every household has a glue gun. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do the red fabric first. And you're just gonna see how long you want it. So I think that is going to be good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this down. Okay, and again, if we have to cut this again, we will. I think this is a tiny bit too big. All right, you just want to kind of have an idea. So this is how it's going to be. Now, you are going to really want to kind of see, get the blue down, because I will say you're not going to want to really just lay this down, glue it haphazardly. You're going to want to kind of have your blue set first, not glued down, but set first. And then you're going to want to pick it up and just barely put the red underneath. Now I'm going to just trim just a tiny bit more off of this. So see how I'm just going back and I'm just making sure that it's perfect and as good as it can be before I really start gluing everything down. So I'm going to do a really thin layer of glue, hot glue, on 3 sides of this. So let's get this laid down. and I'm gonna lightly press. If you don't press hard, the glue won't come through the fabric and you won't be able to see it as much. So that's what we're gonna do. Then we're just gonna take these strips and we're just gonna eyeball it, barely putting it underneath the fabric. So what I mean by that is you lift this up a tiny bit and slide it under there, and then when you put it back down, it's gonna barely go underneath there because you don't want that color to come through the other fabric. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lay it down, cut it, and then I'm gonna come back through and do it again. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing, guys, because this is not the end. This is not going to be the end all be all because we've still got to do the light color, but I'm going to give you a gist of what I'm doing. Okay. So the red is not on there. It's just laying on there. See how it's just laying? So you just want to get a gist, kind of cut it. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take our light piece here and do the same thing. So you want to make sure all your pieces are cut first before you start gluing the stripes. Now we know the top stripe is going to stay right where it's at no matter what, because that's your starting point. Always start from the top and move down. So once you've got the fabric, you know, somewhat cut, you're going to just start layering. Now what I like to do is I like to layer my dark on top of my light. And let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, so what I like to do, the top, I'll lay this right here is the lighter, and you almost can't even tell, it totally blends in. But the darker is on top of this one. So it just overlaps it slightly. I do like that look. So why don't we get the top piece laid down. Remember, a little bit of glue on this. Don't overdo it because you will be able to see it come through this fabric. So lay it down, gently push. Then what you're going to do is you're going to do that same thing to this light fabric, whatever light fabric you choose. And now's the time that you can make changes, move things around, okay? Don't worry if things come off the ends because we're gonna trim everything up, make sure everything is just really tight on there. So now you can see we've got the gingham and then we've got the light pieces. Now let's go in with our other piece. And again, we're just gonna lay it slightly underneath this fabric. Line it up. And it's going to sit on top of the light piece. When I get really close, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm doing. Do you guys hear George eating his toy? All right, so lay your glue down, and then we're just gonna squeeze this in there underneath the blue section. We just want it to look clean. It's gonna look primitive, but we want it to look clean. Okay, so see how that's coming along? And it's a little bit underneath this blue. It's great, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. We want the blue to be on top of kind of a focal point. All right, so now we're gonna go back in. We're gonna take a lighter color. And I'm actually gonna trim this down slightly. Nothing has to be perfect. This is an old rugged flag, and that's how we want it to look. Okay.
And it takes a second to just really make sure all the sides are up, everything is good. Just take your time. You're not in a hurry. Okay, so see how it's coming off the side? No big deal. We'll work on that at the very, very end. Okay, and you know what I just realized? I cut the polka dot fabric for this. I just now realized we did the gingham. I had 2 here and I just ran with it. So it's totally good. We'll do another one. Okay, I'm actually gonna cut this one down slightly. This is what happens when you have a ton of fabric. I already had some ripped and it was right here. So it was literally on top. Okay, so now this is the last part of this that we're gonna do. Just remember, less is more on this glue situation. All right, so we're gonna go in and we're going to glue the rest of this blue section here. So this is what we've got right now. Cute. So now let's go in, while everything is drying, let's go in and just trim all our edges, making sure they all look good, perfect. If anything needs glued down, now's the time to glue them down. If they're fraying, actually that adds a lot of character, so I honestly wouldn't worry too much about the fraying. It would help if I had better scissors. I should grab my fabric shears. These are just my utility ones around the house from Costco. And they definitely stop working after a while. That's probably why they sell you a 3-pack. Because they don't cut all that great. Okay, so here we go. So you can see how cute. All right, now we have to decide. I have some buttons here, and they did not have little star buttons, but they had the ones that are the flowers, which I put on this. And again, I think these are a little too white for this project, but it's whatever. Or I have the bigger stars. So I think we're gonna use the bigger stars. And this, again, you can use anything. You can even cut out cardboard stars and put on here, which I think would be super duper cute. So we're gonna just do 1 star on here. I like to go around the button so we don't see the hot glue coming out of the buttonholes. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Super cute, huh? All right, so now what we'll do is we're gonna find a stick. I have a whole bunch of sticks right here. So we're just gonna find a stick. Now, I mean, they're all different. It just depends. Some of them are thick, some of them are not. It kind of depends on what you want. If you want a curved one, if you want a straight one, it's whatever. Honestly, it's whatever. And sometimes if they're fresh, you can mold them. So these were just freshly cut, and they're actually green inside. So look, like that one almost I'm able to get straight. All right, so the last part to this flag DIY is you got to attach the stick to the side. Now, I don't like to just take glue, set this on, and call it good. I like to wrap it around slightly. Less is more, again, on the glue situation. So we're just gonna do a little bit here, little bit here, little bit here. Just really thin. So I went down and then I went over a little bit to the side and I got it down. If your stick is not flush right here, cut off any like nodules or anything that you have. So you're gonna lay it down, and you're gonna lay it down a little further back right here, okay? And then you're going to gently and carefully, so you don't squeeze the glue, roll this over. Slightly. So it doesn't have to be perfect right now. We'll come back in with the glue and just make sure everything is good. So we're gonna just do a tiny bit more glue here. You can always add glue, but you can't take away glue. Once there's too much hot glue, it becomes a humongous mess. All right, and then go back in anywhere you need possible glue, like on the sides. You just kind of fold it over. So you don't, you don't want the fabric kind of sticking up and wonky. You want it to go around. So let me come close. So here's this one that we just made. Here's the one I made before. Honestly, I think this one's even cuter. This is a different fabric here than this. The blues are different and these are different. Again, you can make your stars, get a template online, cut it out, just wing it, cut them out. They don't have to be perfect. Cardboard, the brown would be perfect. I've got some chunky little mini wood stars coming. They just haven't arrived yet. So you can see how cute these are. Now, if you want to add a cute little ribbon right here with some of the fabric, like a bow, and have it give like a ribbon effect, just a bow and then hanging down, you absolutely could do that. So again, we were gonna use this fabric. So why don't we run in here really quick and let me just whip one of these out. Where the heck? Oh, right here. Let me just whip this out really quick. I'll just have you watch me. I won't talk as much. That way we can just get this done really, really quick. You can watch me make a second one. Because honestly, guys, once you've made a few of these, you can actually finish these each in probably 5 to 7 minutes. Very fast. And how fun would this be? We are planning on having a big 4th of July barbecue at our house. And how cute would this be to pass them out to all the guests that come? So you guys could do that too. If you're maybe doing like something fun for 4th of July, make a whole bunch of these and pass them out. Love that. All right, there's some imperfections on this particular, this particular piece, blue. So I just trimmed it down a little bit. I still trim it. I don't know what it, sometimes fabric comes with imperfections, and this one definitely has some right here. All right, perfect. So we're gonna lay this down. Now we're gonna use the right fabric. This is the red polka dot fabric. I have to say, this fabric frays a lot more than the other fabrics. This little red polka dot, which honestly, I absolutely love. I think it's such a good look. Trying to get over this little bit of something I've got. So you could do what I'm doing here instead of doing what we did the first time, is I'm literally cutting everything, which is more efficient on your time, cutting everything, then gluing. I'm just trying to show you guys how fast these can be made. All right. I forget that one doesn't stand up. My big one will stand up out of the, but not my tiny one. And another thing is like this piece is a tad, like a smidgen short. You can stretch it and it will be absolutely fine. Crazy thing is I don't feel sick at all. My nose started running on Monday and man, it's all like, almost like it's allergies, which I don't really have, but maybe it's something I've acquired. All right, here it is. Look at how fast that's done. Okay, well, those pieces are drying. We're gonna do the same big star because it was a 2-pack. It's already out, so why not use that? Okay, so here this is, okay? And I'll come close, but now let's trim it up. We're gonna trim it, then we're gonna go back in and make sure every little section is glued down. Any of these little sections on the end especially, just make sure they're glued. And these are coming up. Perfect. All right, so let's find the perfect stick. Maybe my scissors don't work very good because I do that kind of stuff. I trim branches with them. Okay. Just got a little hot glue on there. All right, so here we go. Remember, go in a tiny bit, and then I like to go back up a little bit closer. So there's 2 ribbons of glue. We're gonna keep this one longer, roll it, lay it down, roll it, and then roll this little section. All right, go back in any little places or pieces that are kind of wonky, glue down, and you are all done. Actually, this is probably my favorite one. So let me show you. So I don't know how long that took, but it was fast. So here's this. I love how the wavy edges are. This fabric is like that on the ends. And so there's this one. Hang on, let me just. All right, so maybe, honestly, maybe I put the star just a little bit over too far. If I can, actually, I like that it's kind of up. So, and then we have this one that we just made. And then we have this one that I already made. See the difference? So you've got all the different characteristics and they're all different. And you can see how the reds show up differently. But isn't this cool? So easy, so simple. It took almost no time. And so we've already got 3 made. We could spend 30 minutes and whip out, I don't know how many can we make, like 15 or something. If you have all the fabric, everything, the supplies that you need, you could just whip these suckers out, make a whole bunch of different ones, different patterns, because we've got all these different blues, the reds. Guys, you don't have to go buy fabric either. Start thinking outside of the box when it comes to needing fabric. I know all my girls out there have clothes they do not wear. Start there. If you don't have red, white, and blue fabric, go see if you have a red top or a blue top or a white top, or your husband has a stained white top, you know, or even socks. You can even use socks. You can, honestly. So start cutting up clothes. We have so many textiles and fabric in our own home that we can repurpose. Do you have old dish towels that you're like, oh my gosh, these are so stained, they're embarrassing? create and craft with them. So honestly, this doesn't have to cost really any money. If you have just linens and fabrics and textiles laying around, you can make your own stars. You don't have to buy buttons. You don't have to buy wood stars. You can make your buttons out of cardboard or foam board or whatever. Use some paint. I mean, there's so many options. Tea dye, coffee dye, use paint, do a paint wash, all those different things for those stars. And then you go buy or go pick sticks that cost $0. So honestly, this could be almost a free DIY. At some point I did buy this fabric, so this is not a free DIY. I also bought the buttons, not a free DIY, but I could absolutely make it a total DIY. Now let me give you guys a little hint. You can use cardboard from your cracker boxes, your cereal boxes. Just flip it over, use the brown side. You could paint it white if you want white stars. You could, if you want to keep it brown, real primitive. You could do that if you want more of the prairie look. Do a little bit of white. If you want the farmhouse rustic look, you could do a little bit of white and the brown paint, kind of mixing it up. So you could do that, but you don't have to use cardstock. You could use those boxes. If you don't have boxes like that, I bet you have paper towel or toilet paper rolls. That is perfect. Just cut them up one side and then just trace them out, draw them out, cut them out. You can use those. FREE, the best way to do it. So guys, thank you so much for joining me making these flags. These are fun and exciting, and we have got to get excited about America's birthday. You know, start planning a barbecue, a get together. It could be as small or as big as you want. We are planning a big one, but we have to get that second pergola up. And that is, we're a little bit against the clock. So we're praying that we can do that, but we're gonna do a tablescape outside. I'm gonna do a tablescape with lights and just a fun tablecloth and linens and plates and dishes and cups and all the things. So we are planning on going all out, just using things we have around the house, and we're gonna put the table, usually we put the table on the patio. We are gonna take it out to the grass and create this tablescape, an environment where it's cool and it's luxurious and it's fresh grass smell, and it's just gonna be perfect. So it doesn't matter if there's 2 people coming or 20 people coming or 200 people coming. Plan something. It's very fun. Most people are off. Do that. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, you can find all the behind the scenes and all the things that are going on a daily basis on our Instagram and Facebook page, Sweet Pickins Reno, Pickins Reno. You can find us there, Facebook, Instagram, or guys, you can head over to our website, shopsweetpickins.com, and you can find inspiration for decorating and creating and making. We have a blog, and we also have a wonderful shop over there where you can shop and find goodies for your home. They're unique, they're special, and I just handpick everything that I put in there, and I'm very picky about what I bring into our retail section. So I hope you can find some goodness over there. So thank you guys again. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video.